In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can land your first 10 remote athletes in 120 days or less without a huge following, being a social media wizard, or spending years and years and years trying to figure it out on your own. So by the end of this video, you're going to know how to target dedicated athletes that are going to get the best results and pay the highest prices, how to actually generate leads on autopilot so you don't have to spin your tires posting on social media, wondering why your videos aren't getting any traction, and then finally, you're going to learn how to actually convert those leads that you get into paying customers so that you can actually get paid what you're worth over the internet and start living a life with a little bit more freedom. And just so I'm not wasting anybody's time, this is only for coaches who want to learn how to land their first 10 remote athletes. So if that's not you, if you have no interest in doing remote training or you don't think remote training is possible, then you can go ahead and click away from this video. It's probably not for you, right? But if that is you, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step process that you need to take to land your first 10 remote athletes in 120 days or less. And if you're watching this video, there's a high likelihood that you've probably tried to sell remote training programs or an online program in the past. And I'm here to tell you the reason why it didn't work is because most likely you're just trying to get people to click a link in your bio and buy some $25 to $50 program. The reason why that doesn't work is because you're posting on Instagram or posting on TikTok to get people's attention and they're only following you for entertainment. So using my system, what I'm going to teach you how to do is get people's attention for the right reasons to solve their pain points and then show them that you can actually solve their problems and eventually they will pay you money. Because if you're not making content to solve people's problems and you're only making content purely for entertainment, why is anybody going to pay you money when there's so much free entertaining stuff out there on the internet? So if that resonates with you at all and you want to learn how you can get your first 10 remote clients in 120 days or less, then you're going to want to stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So let's jump right into it. All right, y'all. So this is how to sign your first 10 clients in 120 days or less without having a huge following, without being a social media wizard, and without spending years and years and years trying to figure it out on your own. So you're probably sitting there thinking, who are you? How do I know that I can trust you? You're making all these big claims saying that you can help me sign remote clients. How do you know what you're doing, right? And so here are some real client results of people that are in my consulting program. You can see right here, top left, homie made 2 for 2 on $500 offers. That's $1,000 in a day doing online baseball training, right? You got homie over here, 3 paid in fulls for $3,600 in a day. You're probably, if you're training at a facility, this is probably what you make in a month. And he did it in a day, right? Another paid in full today since launch, 36 sales at $500. You can do some math there. Homie just joined and inked 2 clients without even going all the way through all of my training modules and everything like that. So that was pretty cool to see. And then this is probably one of the coolest texts I've seen right here in the bottom right where he goes, I appreciate you. Literally was almost a registration call. Kid was like, bro, I've seen all the progress videos. I'm ready to sign up. I was like, bet, ha, ha, ha. So a lot of you guys out there are probably trying to gator wrestle somebody into buying your program, whether it be, just clicking the link in your bio or signing up for your remote program. Wouldn't it be nice if you had somebody go, hey, I already watched all your stuff. Like, I want to be in the program, right? Oh, look, more wins. Okay, so we got more wins here, right? So top left, brother closed 6 clients in the last week. Let's get some more. I think he's selling at like $250, right? So he closed 6 guys and those are recurring subscriptions, right? So he closed 6 guys in a week at, what is that, 1,500 recurring monthly. Homie right here, not even 2 weeks into my program, made his first sale. Down here, he said he got a rando to sign up and then 3 other kids that have been following him within the hour. So 4 dudes right there. This dude right here, we've been working together for about a month and a half, 2 months. He's already got 8 people on his remote sales and he hasn't even really been going all in on it yet. He's kind of just been going halfway and he'll admit that, right? And he knows that as he continues to progress, he'll get more and more guys. Bottom right here, he's selling a remote package for $1,200. A lot of you guys can't even fathom how you're supposed to do that, right? And there's a way to do it. And, lowering your price is never the answer, but I'll show you, what I'm talking about here. Okay, I got some more wins right here, right? $900 paid in full, first sale after just 2 weeks in the program, right? So he's brand new to remote training, and he's making a sale at 900 bucks, which is probably more than 99.999% of you guys watching this have ever made on the internet. And he did it in 2 weeks, right? We got homie right here, collected $1,500. This dude's made 27 sales in the last couple months. He's selling at 500. This dude made a DM. He calls them cold DMs, but he's just DMing his followers. Like, he's not actually just ripping cold DMs to random people. But that's my guy right there. And right here, we got a little bit of competition in my community where they'll kind of talk back and forth about who can make more sales, who can get more people into their program, right? $500 paid in full. Sale number 41 since launch. He's collected over $18,000 in like 2.5 months since we started working together. So on top of that, you know, I got my community right here. I'm super, super, super fortunate to have a community of killers. On my first group call that I decided to do, we had over 250,000 followers combined from all the people in my group just on Instagram, which is super, super cool. If we would have gone TikTok, it'd probably be like 300 or 400K, right? And then you could see here, I got a couple other posts from dudes in my community, right? So homie over here is talking about, you know, the content on social media. He posts something with 70K views, you know, and he's saying if anybody has any questions around videos, editing, really content creation as a whole, don't hesitate to reach out, right? So I'm very, very fortunate. And this is probably the thing that I'm most proud of, is that I'm building a community of dudes who want to work together and are asking each other questions and willing to help out, right? And then you can see right here, you know, we got a win in the community, but he's also saying like, look, I booked 2 calls this morning just from, you know, saying this type of DM, like if you guys aren't doing this, you should do this too, right? So we're trying to help each other out. And then right here, there's a little communication chain of me and one of my dudes in my community who's getting on a phone call with a guy who's got a much bigger following than him, because the guy with the much bigger following is willing to help him, you know, with his content strategy, right? So if you're watching this video and you were skeptical about, okay, can this guy help me? Well, like, dude, look at the community, look at the results. You know, I'm working with currently at this moment about 20 coaches, helping them, you know, launch their remote training program. So I actually know what I'm doing, right? And I didn't just make this stuff up out of nowhere. Here's a little bit about me, right? So I was a baseball player. I was a nomad. I was a nomad in college. I went to 4 schools. You can see here the picture on the left was me hitting a homer in the conference tournament. For one full calendar, or not even one full calendar year, I held the single season school home run record, which was broken the very next year. But that's kind of my claim to fame in baseball. I sucked for a lot of my college career, and that was my best year ever. I ended up signing an independent league contract for the Southern Illinois Miners, who literally aren't even a team anymore. And this is me. This is how you know it's indie ball. Look at the jerseys, right? That is absolutely disgusting. Look at the spread there. I think we got mayo and mustard, no bread or anything like that. But after 10 days of playing indie ball, I decided that this wasn't what I wanted to do. I kind of looked around and saw that there was a lot of guys that were better than me, that were on my same team. And I felt like I was kind of wasting my time. So what did I do? I went and got a job in the corporate world. And, you know, honestly, I absolutely hated it, but I thought that it's what I was supposed to do, right? I thought that it was what I was supposed to do. And, you know, I tried to go all in on it because that's the kind of guy I am, that, you know, when I get my mind on something, I decide like, I'm going to go super, super, super hard. And, you know, it sucked. I'm not going to lie. It sucked. And so I kind of lost myself in training, right? In getting super jacked and blah, 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 right? Like, I still like to work out to this day, but here's me sumo deadlifting 500, kind of a cheater deadlift, definitely an ego lift, but that's kind of like what I wanted to do, right? I was like, maybe I'll, you know, be a personal trainer. Like, I might not make as much money as I was doing mortgage sales, right? I might not make as much money as maybe if I'm doing mortgage sales, but at least I'll be doing something that I enjoy, right? And, you know, I decided like, I'm going to do something about this. So I go on this huge journey about like online entrepreneurship and self-help, and like, you know, I was like drinking and smoking and doing all this stuff, and I stopped, right? And I was like, I'm going to take care of myself. and got rid of all my vices, started, reading, and I came across this book called .com Secrets, and it started teaching me about funnels, and one thing led to another, and I was like, I'm gonna start an online fitness training business. Like, I think I can do this. I think I can, really help people get in better shape. And life kind of took a turn. I met up with an old teammate, and he was like, hey, I want to do remote baseball training, but I don't know any of the business side. I was like, well, I've been working in corporate America for a year learning how to sell, and I'm learning how to market right now. So I think I can help you. And so we started a remote baseball training business, remote pitching training business. Oddly enough, I wasn't even a pitcher, but it ended up going extremely well, right? And when I make, advertisements on the internet and I tell people the numbers, they don't believe it, right? Because they're so ridiculous. So this is here in May 2023, $32,000 cash collected, 148 active subscribers. So, about 40 or 50 of those or probably like 50 or 60 of those were free guys in the community. But I was training 90 to 100 people. And that's a real screenshot. I made $32,000 in a month doing online baseball training, collected over $250,000 in 10 months. And most people, when I tell them that, they can't believe it, right? Like, I get people commenting on my ads on Instagram, or people commenting on my YouTube channel, like, you're a scammer. There's no way you did that. Well, like, there's literally the proof. And like, if you ever want to hit me up and you want more proof, like, I'll show you anything that you want. But it didn't come easy, right? I had to learn, but I realized after making a ton of mistakes, there's a system, there's a way that you can do it. And unfortunately, the partner and I split up. And when we split up, I had a million people, it felt like, hit me up asking, how are you doing what you're doing? How are you making that kind of money, right? Because at 25 years old, I'm making 20, 30 grand a month on the internet, training baseball players, and people can't believe it, right? And I was like, maybe I could start a business out of this. And ever since, I guess, long story short, started the business, and people have had a lot of success, as you could see the client results, right? And those client results are just the ones that I felt like were the most relatable, because I have tons and tons and tons of screenshots of people making sales, of good things happening, right? But I guess the reason why I show you all this stuff is because I actually know what I'm doing, right? I've done it myself, and I'm helping a ton of people currently, and have helped a ton of people already do what it is that you want to do if you're still watching this video. So, number one, you need to have the right targets, right? Number two, you need to have some sort of automated lead generation system, especially because these days with the Instagram algorithm, they are pushing people who are willing to spend money, right? And then number three, you need to figure out how you can convert that lead, or those leads that you're generating, into actual paying customers into your program, right? Because this is really the game that we're trying to play. How can we actually make money from this, right? So let's talk about targeting. So number one, targeting, it's vital that you pick one specific type of athlete, right? And when I say one specific type of athlete, I don't mean like, if you're a baseball coach, like that you just pick catchers or hitters or pitchers or whatever, right? I want you to think very, very in depth about who this person is, right? What do they want? What do they fear? What have they tried, right? What are their beliefs? What does their skill set look like? What do their parents think, right? These are all the things that you want to think about, because when you're making your marketing material, it's absolutely vital that you pick these things out, right? And at the same time, you don't want to just market to anybody, because a lot of people out there on the internet want free information. And if you position yourself as the guy who gives out free info, then what are you going to attract? people that want free info, right? People that don't want to be sold to. Whereas if you position yourself as an authority in the space and that your service is valuable, you will attract people who are willing to pay money to get results. So if you're actually a good coach and you can deliver results, you're gonna attract people who are actually really good at the sport. They just need a little bit of guidance, right? They're not gonna need you to hold their hand and sit in the cage with them if you're a hitting coach, right? And move their arms around so that they can feel it. They don't need that. They need guidance and they need a mentor. This is a text chain from an athlete that I used to train, right? He texted me March 22nd, 2023. ASU would be pretty lit, Arizona State. And then he texted me out of the blue. I hadn't trained him in like 6 months, right? He goes, "Hey Nick, it's blank he's from South Dakota, actually. He said, I worked with you this offseason through remote training. Just want to let you know I got an offer to play at ASU today and wanted to thank you for all your help and for helping me broaden my horizons within baseball." So that was one of the coolest texts I ever got. And it made me even more convicted in remote training because I was a Division I baseball player. I can technically say I was a pro, but let's be honest, 10 days of indie ball, not really. But I was a D1 baseball player and I played at Notre Dame, I played at San Jac, I played at South Carolina, right? And I started on opening day at every single one of those places, right? And then I ended up going to Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, so nobody really cares about that. But I played at a lot of really, really high profile schools. And this kid's from South Dakota. How many people do you think he knows have the experience that I do? One, and it's me, right? And it's because of remote training that I was able to give this kid guidance, right? This kid from South Dakota had access to me, a Division I baseball player who played with, a bunch of different big leaguers, who's very well connected in the game of baseball, right? And he had access to me. And so that's not something that a lot of kids can do, and it's only possible through something like remote training, and it's why targeting is so important so that you can attract kids like this who just need a little bit of guidance. So let's get into the automated lead generation, right? So when I say automated lead generation is look, organic content is going to take a lot of work, right? It takes time to grow your following and you need to post a ton, right? So what my strategy is that you want to play the quality game, not the quantity game. And what I mean by that is you want to run paid advertising to your specific type of athlete that you want to work with. And this is why targeting is so, so, so important, right? Because if we can put our ads in front of the right people and we can say the right things in the ads, then that athlete is way more likely to take action, come to our page, maybe engage with our content, maybe give us a follow, right? But if we're marketing to everybody, then the automated lead gen system is just not gonna work, right? Because nobody is gonna resonate with that message. Nobody's gonna take action, right? And so, look, you can spend a lot of time building an organic following and it can really work, right? But that takes a lot of time, right? And the reason why more people don't run paid advertising is because they're afraid to spend a little bit of money because there's risk that it might not come back. But if you know what you're doing, you can turn $1 into $3, $1 into $5, $1 into $10. If you had a slot machine where every single time you put $1 in, you knew you got $3, $5, $10 back, how much money would you put in that slot machine? Probably as much as the machine could possibly take, right? Right. So with that in mind, this is a visual example of what most people do on the right. Okay, so most people post content and then have a link in their bio and then they click on the link and it's asking them to pay money, right? The problem with that is that there's no content to, number one, warm them up because they're making content to get people's eyeballs, and the minute that they stop posting content is when their audience stops growing and when they stop getting new eyeballs, right? And because they're focusing so much on getting attention with their content, they can't make content to actually help them convert people into paying customers and warm them up, right? So what do? They don't have the time or the knowledge to speak to these people, whether it be through their content or in their DMs. So they just put a link up and then they ask these people to pay me. By the time they go to the payment page or the checkout page, the people who were on that page know nothing about this person. They're just so unlikely to buy, right? Because all the content has been about flashy stuff, get people's attention. And so what I teach people to do is I teach people to run very, very specific ads at people who have a painful problem, right? And are going to get good results and are willing to pay a high price because it's a very painful problem and because most likely they're a good player, the upside is high, right? So if you're going after like a high school kid who might be a D1 player, they're probably a lot more likely to pay money for their training than, let's say, little Johnny who throws 65, right? So from there, we don't have to make new content to get new people in the door. So we can focus our content on pre-selling our prospects, right? And starting conversations with our athletes and getting on the phone and seeing if we can actually help them instead of selling a stock program, right? Because we want people to feel like they actually mean something. And the best way to do that is to actually care. And this is the way to show that to people, right? So that being said, you're probably thinking, how do I make the content? How do I actually convert these people, right? I get that we're gonna run ads, right? Well, let's talk about conversion. So like I said, you wanna make content that does most of the pre-selling for you. You wanna be able to solve people's problems, provide them a ton of value, and then you can also make calls to action, right? And what you're gonna do with those calls to action is you get them in your DMs so you can book sales appointments with people to get them on the phone. And then when you have them on the phone, you can frame your program as the solution to their problems, right? And if you did a good job in your advertising and your marketing, your program is the solution to their problems, right? We just need to show them that on the sales call. And if you're making your content properly, showing that your program is the solution to their problems, then if you remember from the client results part at the beginning, right, the client wins part at the beginning, my boy says he's pretty much having like enrollment calls now instead of sales calls. He's not having to like convince these people that he's the solution. They already think that he is because his content is so good, right? And so here's a prime example of that. I'm name dropping my boy Ian. He's a really, really good friend of mine, and I have been telling him what to do for a long, long time, and he never took my advice. And Ian, if you're watching this, I'm calling you out right now. You never took my advice. And it's because he didn't know how, right? I'm not gonna sit here and blame him. It's because he didn't know how to implement, what specifically I was trying to get him to do, right? And so he had all these followers, as you can see, 115K. He had all these followers, but he didn't know how to convert them, right? He didn't know how to convert them. And so what we did is we literally just implemented, hey, let's make some content like this to start conversations and get them on the phone instead of trying to sell them. You can see directly right here through your stand store, right? Instead of trying to sell them in your stand store, let's get them on the phone. You could probably charge higher prices and you're gonna make a lot more money, right? And so I don't wanna necessarily say numbers of how much he's made. He went from making less than 5 figures from his training in the last 12 months to in the first month of us working together, making over 5 figures. Obviously he has a ton of followers, right? But the misconception is that people with a ton of followers are making a ton of money, but that's not true, right? Because I have, a fraction of the following that he does. And I still have more people in my coaching program, coaching coaches, than he does in his baseball program. And he has a way wider net cast. He has way more prospects, right? Because he's just starting to implement these systems, okay? So if you have a big following, you maybe don't need to run ads, right? You maybe don't need to run ads to get new attention. Maybe you just need to figure out who you need to work with that's actually going to want to pay you money that you can actually help get results, and then make content for them and start conversations with them. So that's something to think about if you're one of those guys who has a big following, right? Because I get messages from people who have big followings pretty much every single day that don't know how to monetize, right? And this is how to do it, right? I'm telling you exactly what you need to do. So So the 3 stages of remote training are: number 1, WTF, right? You don't know what's going on. Like, even if you have a following, even if you're getting people to follow you, like, you have no idea, like, even the concept of like what's going on, right? The second stage is, oh, I get it, right? You're starting to get a little bit of traction. Maybe you're making the right types of posts, but you haven't sold, like, let's say 50 people in your program yet, maybe 1 or 2, right? And then after, 60, 90, 120 days, you're gonna be sitting there thinking, why didn't I start sooner, right? These are the 3 stages that people go through, and you can see how the growth is exponential, right? I didn't make it where it was linear, right? You make almost no progress for a long time, and then as soon as you turn that corner, boom, the growth is exponential, right? What I help people with in my program is I try and get them to start at step 2 so they can bypass all this section right here, right? Because most people take a long time to go from step 1 to step 2, and they probably don't have enough success to even push through and get to step 2. So they quit before they can even get there, right? They quit before they can even get to the good part. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't need to be that way. Here's the difference between success and failure in remote training programs, right? This is what I see in my experience, having worked with the guys that I've worked with, and also I talk to people every single day about it, and I've also done it myself, right? So number 1, on the left side, these are people that fail. They market to everybody. They pray that somebody will buy their stuff. They charge super cheap prices, and they give up after a few months of trying, right? Let's go back. They never get out of stage 1. They never get into stage 2 and figure out what they need to be doing. People that have success pick one specific type of athlete to go after, the type of athlete that is actually willing to pay money for their training because they take it seriously, so they're gonna get the best results, right? You present yourself, or you view yourself as an expert in the field, and that people are willing to pay you money for what you know. And because of that, you charge a premium price, and then you're not worried so much about if you fail or not, because you take the mentality of you either win or you learn. So if you're a coach and you're looking to get your first 10 remote clients in 120 days or less, and you actually want to do this remote training, then you can go ahead, book in a call with me. The link will be down below. Schedule a time to speak with me. We'll hop on the phone. If you're the right fit, we can go ahead and get started right away. If you're not ready yet, if you don't trust me yet, if you don't believe that what I'm doing is actually working, go ahead, watch all my other stuff. Don't book in a call yet. I totally get it, right? You need to see more stuff. Maybe if you want to shoot me a DM on Instagram, you can go ahead and do that. But if you're ready to go, if you want to do the remote game, if you want to get your first clients today, then go ahead, book in a call with me. We'll jump on the phone. We'll go through it. If it's the right fit, then we can get going right away. So at this point, you really have 2 options, right? You can take everything that I just gave you for free. That's exactly what I teach people how to do, and they get results with it. You can take all that, you can run with it, and you can implement it into your business today, right? You might have success with it, you might fail, right? You'll probably will fail because information is not inherently valuable. It's the application of the information, right? But if you want help implementing it, this is option 2, then you can go ahead and work with me directly, right? You can hop into my program, get into my community where I have guys with, as you've seen, 100,000 followers, right? I have guys with very, very few followers, and they're having success in my program, right? Using my systems. So if you want help implementing this, if you want help implementing this information and actually making it make sense for you, then go ahead, you can book in the call with me. If you're not ready to get going, if you need a little bit more time, if it's not the right time to get started right away, don't book in that call with me. Just keep watching my stuff, right? If it's not the right time, I totally get it. Keep watching my stuff. I put out a ton of free information out there for you, or you can keep trying to implement it on your own. Maybe you figure it out, I'll give you a high five. That would be awesome, right? But if you are ready to go right now and you want help implementing this stuff into your business, then go ahead, book that time to speak with me. We'll jump on the phone. So here are some frequently asked questions about remote training, right? So most people think you need a ton of followers, right? And I'm here to tell you that's not true. Because my boy JC Ariza has 181 followers on his business account right now. It's called NST Global. You can go look it up if you're watching this video sometime in 2023, early 2024, before his account blows up, right? He is close to 20 clients. So what does that mean? It's not about how many followers you have, right? It's about how good at marketing and sales you are and how good of results you can get to show that you can actually get people in the program, right? He can show results of his clients in person. Now all he needs to do is take the exact same ideas and exact same structure and put it out there for more people to see, right? So number two, how am I supposed to train somebody over the internet, right? This is one of the biggest questions that I get, and it's because they're stuck in the typical facility mindset of this athlete is not going to get better unless I'm right there holding their hand. And look, athletes are so much smarter today than they were before, right? They need to make sense of the information and apply it for themselves, as opposed to like they need you there just flipping the ball to them so they can take swings, right? Anybody can flip front toss. Are you a good enough coach to be able to provide information and make sense of it so that an athlete can take it and actually go get better with it, right? That is what remote training is. So it challenges you as a coach, right? It challenges you as a coach. And the people that don't think that they can do remote training, in my opinion, it's because they don't think they're actually that good of a coach. They're actually not that good of a communicator, right? And that's what coaching is communication. If you can only communicate in person, if you can't communicate over the phone, it's 2023, it's about to be 2024, right? You need to figure out how to communicate over the internet if you want to have success in this world. You either adapt or you die, okay? So number three, but ads don't work. What are you talking about? I hear this all the time from people, right? They say, oh, I tried to run ads, they didn't work. Tell me why these gigantic companies, right? I've seen Meta run ads. I pay Meta to run ad or place my ads, right? And Meta runs ads. Meta is a gigantic company. Why are they spending money on advertising? Because it works, right? But it's all about how you advertise. It's all about how you are able to put yourself out there in the marketplace, right? So if you don't know how to advertise, don't just blame ads as a whole and say ads don't work when it's your lack of skill, where it's your skill deficiency. Because I'm here to tell you that ads 100% work. For me personally, I put in $1 into ads and I get 10 back, right? So if I can do it with a much smaller following and a niche following, then you can do it in baseball training, football training, basketball training, whatever industry that you're in. I absolutely guarantee it. So if you want a little bit more information in terms of what my program actually looks like, then I'm gonna go ahead, I'll share my screen right now. And as you can see, here's my community. I got about 20 dudes in there and you know, it's bumping, right? We're talking free game, right? I'm posting free game all the time. We got dudes talking about their wins, etc., right? So that's our community aspect of it. And then we can go into the classroom here. I have the live coaching calls that I record, every single one of them, whether I hop on a one-on-one with my guys or, you know, we hop on a group call. I'll record all those and I'll store these in this section right here, right? And then number two, I have my entire program right here laid out for you so that you can see it, right? So it's super, super easy to navigate. Pretty much what the steps are to get started is you watch this welcome video, you post an introduction in the community, people say what's up, you say awesome, right? And then you go through this launch call checklist, right? You figure out exactly where you're at, what you need to be doing. We hop on a launch call, I give you some action steps, and then you book in a call with me whenever you need more help, right? And we can communicate directly through here. We got a messaging feature where I talk with my guys all the time, right? Every single day I try and hit them up. And then I obviously have the group calls right here. So right now I host group calls every Wednesday, but I try and post, you know, extra videos in here. Like if I see something of value, or if there's like a quick video that I wanted to make about, like yesterday, I just made one about like if you're not making sales, like how to actually like structure, you know, your sales call, things like that. Look, I know that getting your first 10 remote clients is tough, right? And especially if you want to get them in 120 days, it's even more difficult, right? But if I could help you get your first 10 remote clients and teach you how to get your first 10 and your next 10, right? Because you can use the same system to get your first 10, your next 10, your next 10 after that, and eventually, maybe scale up to have 100 remote clients like I did, right? If I could help you do that, and maybe you had less in-person lessons every single week, right? You could spend more time with your family, right? Maybe you got a kid, you could spend more time with your kid, right? Maybe you can even quit your 9-to-5 job because your remote training business gets so big, right? If I could help you do that, what would your life look like? It'd probably be a lot different, right? And I am a guy, I am living proof that I quit my 9-to-5 to go all in for remote training. I have clients that have done the exact same thing. And now I want to be able to help as many people do that as possible, right? So if you're a coach, you want to learn the remote game, you want to learn how to get your first 10 clients, and you want to do it in 120 days, book in that call with me, right? Like I said, if you're not ready, go watch my other stuff. I post a ton of stuff for free. But if you are ready, then obviously book in that call with me and we can get going right away. So if you are that guy, I'm looking forward to jumping on the phone with you. But I hope you guys got a ton of value out of this video. Gave you the blueprint 100% for free right there. But until next time, I'll catch ya. Peace.